back to another diversion video. Today we'll be taking the shuttle bus from Copley to Riverside. This is the express shuttle. Currently, Green Line trains are not running between Kenmore and Riverside due to Green Line train protection system installation. It should be leaving relatively soon. I think this is our first time going on the Riverside shuttle bus. But yeah, this is the only stretch of diversion that we haven't done. Yeah, even though that we were supposed to cover it, there were time constraints earlier during the actual track renewal program. $250th. Hello, Sinati. Welcome aboard. So we're in the Mercedes shuttle bus. Hello, so we're welcome. But yeah, NAFA says. So when are you going to go to the moon to check on 754? Well, we have to do some scoping first. I need to figure out which ferry would be optimal. Ideally, the Queens ferry is not applicable after because the old ferry used to go to Fall River Shipyard, but it got discontinued for it to come back to an original location. And the new ferry, Quincy Ferry, only goes to Squantum, where there's unfortunately no transit connections at the moment. But I took a look at the Better Bus redesign map, and they will have the map. The new route will have a connection to the ferry up to 211. So the other way that we could see it is try taking the Hingham Ferry. Yeah, we're probably going to do a Hingham Ferry ride, depending on the weather. Hello, Jan. Welcome aboard. Sinafis says the only legal way to enter Moon Island is tourism and given permission. However, be taken to Squantum the point, but Uber or taxi is required to ferry. But yeah, I'm gonna look into Moon Island tour. Yeah. I'm checking Everett tomorrow. Very good. Yeah, at some point this week I need to go check Everett stops. But if the Riverside trip my round trip ends before sundown, then I should be able to try to just get out up to Everett. So I have 2 hours to do the journey. Now, considering that the D line is one of the longest rapid transit line, not sure how this would take. Breath bus. I think it's a 9. Most of the Excelsiors from Cabot in the 1775 to 19. So, yeah, so I'm just gonna call it 2016 series. Because it was a mouthful to see. 775 series. That's why it's sometimes better to go by years. Because I can't call it the 1770 series. Because there are some XN40s that are numbered 1770 something. So the XN40s numbering ends at 1774, and the Excelsior Hybrid series starts at 1775. Hello, Eli Jackson. Welcome aboard. So Navis says, I'm going to see if I can find 450 and 451. Navis says that the XN40s have been overhauled from Arbor at Ever 86 from Cabot. But yeah. Yeah, just like the NABIs were rebuilt. Some of them were rebuilt in rehouse. And in-house, I meant. So my emphasis could MBTA Everett shops build new buses and have contract with Siemens. Well, in order for them to do that, they have to design their own buses from scratch. And yeah, so 450 and 451 have been saved from scratch. Very good. Looks like we're about to depart. Here we go. Next up, Newton Highlands. So we'll be going via the Mass Pike, I believe. So the emphasis, I plan to do a remaster on my 1500 and 1600 series that include a few things. Can't wait for that to come out. Yeah, good to keep the original documentary. That goes the 501. Currently, there are only 2 express buses that leave. Actually, 2 express buses that go via Copley. One that goes from downtown all the way from Waltham. So we have the 501, 504, and 505. The 502 and the 503 were discontinued in favor of the 501 running via Copley, which replaced the 503 service. And the 502 service was replaced by the Copley variant of the 504. So these routes still exist, but they have been consolidated. And the buses in the 550 series no longer go to Boston, but instead originate in Newton Highlands, which can be done. which you can do a connection. You can take a 504 from, you can take a 504. I'm not sure if a 501. They do, what is a 501? You can take it down the, you can take it to Newton Corner and connect with your other connections, such as the 558, 556, 554. Yeah, those are the 3 routes I used to run to Boston. What's an emphasis? If the TC is 1500, I have no more worrying about the diploma retiring, but Seashore has failed us. Yeah, Seashore is a great police, but they really dropped the ball on this one. Now there's no more 1200 series left on the face of the earth. Everything is supposed to be scrapped until, unless if they still have one, if one of them hasn't been broken up yet. Now we're going into the tunnel that will bring us to the Mass Pike. This high interstate, if we keep traveling on it, you will actually end up in Washington State. 3,000 miles of highway. So, runs from east to west. This is one of the most longest continuous roads in the entire country. Keep driving on I-90, don't stop, and you will end up in Seattle, Washington. That's correct. So an emphasis battery from a 1200 didn't hit that receiver resort. But yeah, they connected. Makes it part of this, let's say. Now we exited the tunnel, and now we're parallel to the Worcester Main Line. This can also be seen on Train Simulator. You'll be passing by Fenway. So now it's here. Bounced up from here to those lines. Passing by the Lansdowne station, formerly named Yonkey. Now it's prefer to Lansdowne because the street name was changed due to the name. Do research, you found out why they changed it. Now, smile for the speed cameras. With the introduction of speed cameras in Massachusetts, tolling, toll booth, and toll booth workers were displaced or reassigned. Automated tolling is much safer than conventional tolling. Soon we're about to. This is the Beacon Park Yard, formerly a large freight yard up until the late 90s. But now it's being redeveloped. Here goes the 505 bus. running express to Copley. Actually, express to downtown. Then there goes the 501 bus. This bus will run express to Brighton. And plus, express buses charge a much higher fare than regular buses. Now it appears that some traffic has generated on I-90. Street in Boston. Pretty sure we already passed over the Green Bridge. Oh, it's so true. Welcome aboard. Let's see. Passed by the Beacon Yard, we passed over under the BU Bridge. So time for some more automated tolling. There's the Boston Landing Station. One of the newest stations or add-ons. So there goes the Stadies. As I was saying. Boston Landing, one of the Worcester Line's newest stations. Also featured in the Boston to Worcester line and train symbol. Goes another Yankee Green Line Express bus heading back to Boston. New Balance indoor track. Hopefully you could ask us from the South Shore Brooklyn. That would be nice. Some nice looking buildings over here. there's that many trains. GBH, all Boston's beloved radio stations and broadcasts. They use radio and TV. Okay, or you could call it Shuttle in your community post. Let's see. Okay, unfortunately, there was an accident. Could have been the reason why there was a lot of traffic, curiosity traffic. Hopefully everyone's okay. Alright, now the traffic is starting to ease up. We'll be resuming highway speeds. Just for your information, the highway, I-90, isn't 4 lanes all the way to Washington State. As you get into the more suburban areas, go from suburban to urban, the lanes will narrow, and it will become 2 lanes direction. 1 lane, one side will be for passing. The train went by when it was on my side. Now we're about to exit the highway onto Newton Corner, Worcester, I-90, New York. Mass Pike. Oh yes, I saw that video. If you watch the extended version for $8, so you can see lots of good stuff in the extended version. City. 449. There goes the 505. The 505 will continue all the way to Waltham. There's an XM40 running that service right now, number 1731. There's 57. Here, 3254 running the service. Now we're entering Newton Corner. This is where passengers should make their connections to local services such as the 554, 556, and 558. The 558 is a good alternative to get to Riverside. However, there are a few trips that run today. Man, I see about on the opposite side of us, there was a 556 bus laying over. Yep. Yep, there goes to 504. The Cabot bus, number 1917. And, let's see. Oh yeah, there's the 553 bus. New 556 Newton Highlands. During the era where I started doing YouTube, the 504 was primarily run by neoprons. Cabot ran the service on Saturdays, and this is before the garage was. So all the buses that will come through this area will be from Albany Street, so neoplants will be everywhere. Up until 2020, where the older neoplants from Albany were retired, scrapped, and the new buses were assigned to Charlestown, and the D4LFs were shifted to Albany. And work was, in the subsequent years, work was done at Albany to heighten the doors so they could accommodate hybrid buses. Starting in 2023, new hybrid buses replaced the D4LFs. Until what we have now today for fleets. D4LFs were the last buses. For 2006 D4LFs were the last buses to be retired. However, all 155 D4LFs are in various stages of service. Not stored, not out of service of parts, but stored for contingency. Most of them ran out from Quincy. And the ones that do not run out of Quincy are either in contingency or rarely used on Fellsway routes. There's 3 that actually got shipped over to Paul Revere to supplement the bus fleet while the 3000 series were being rebuilt. 2/3 of buses. Welcome to Newton. So when Arborway becomes short, they'll probably ask Southampton Street or Cabot to fill in the roads. That rarely ever happens. This Arborway has over 120 buses to use. So some Cabot buses Brooklyn Line, Newton. As we get deeper into fall, you will start seeing the wonderful autumn colors in the trees for fall foliage. I think that sounds like a reasonable conclusion. Really good for battery. Suppose that I guess going to do the local variants on the way back. I'm actually not sure. However, they may have some contracts lying around that didn't find the scope of work. So the contract should be lying around in our public record. And there's lots of traffic during this time. That's why I'm strongly opposed to doing shuttles or diversions like this during weekday rush hour, because traffic is at its maximum, crowding is at its maximum, and so on and so forth. Car traffic, passenger traffic, etc. Says I think a new bus route should be called 53 Copley South to Riverside. However, that route slot has been preserved for the 53 because they're going to be getting rid of the 5 from the 500 series. So 553 will become 53, 554 will become 54. 556 become 56. So basically, numbers in the slots will be taken. Because 51, Reservoir to Forest Hills. 52, Watertown to Denham Mall. 53, Roberts to Newton Center. 54, Waverly to Newton Center. 55, Arlington to Copley. 56, Newton Center, Newton Corner to Newton Highlands. 57, Watertown to Kenmore. 58 will be Riverside. Riverside to Newton Center, Newton Corner. 59 will be Watertown. Watertown to Needham Junction. 50 is already reserved for Far South to Cleary Square. 60, Kenmore to Chestnut Hill. 61, North Waltham to Waltham Center. 62, Airwife to Bedford, VA. So 63 will be the best option for avenue coverage. Well, 49 could be confused with the Silver Line. 48 is their old Jackson Square Route. 47 is occupied. 46 used to be going from East Street to so-and-so. East Street to Jackson. 45 through 45 all the way down to 27. And so that's a lot of bus routes. Percentage looks probably in the scope, but the route will be redundant because you can connect to the 57 at the Newton Corner. Hello, Henry. Welcome aboard. Doing your requested video. So now there should be a bus route from between Riverside Reservoir and Beacon Street. Robbins School, Museum, Newton Islands, Mason College, and the Waterworks Museum. There goes a BU shuttle. Get like a vantage to the floor. So Henry says since North Cambridge is almost complete, you should go back the next month or two for battery electric bus delivery progress. That sounds good. And did you see that update post from yesterday regarding the North Cambridge garage? But yeah, on also that because I did do a Catlett flyby this morning, and 1503, 1502 have been moved to newly placed track section for storage. Same thing with 1755. See what's next on our list. Newton campus. Yeah, we need to check out Everett. Monica, check Everett out. That to be determined at some point this week. The other side. And the best way to do that is to take the train from North Station to Chelsea. Alright, so we did a Catlett flyby. Henry this morning. The stream is up, so you can check it out. And we haven't seen any signs of electric buses there. And last time we visited Reedville, we did observe some buses, some electric bus that was parked there. City of Newton, Fire Department headquarters. Oh yes, this is part of the 501. Oh, the 502 doesn't go here. The 500 series don't go on this road. No, sure. So, Davis Mischievous says there should be a third garage near Albany and Cabot. More 23. Technically, Southampton Street is that third garage. We have 3 garages in vicinities. I think Southampton Street might have been expanded a bit to accommodate more buses. So I'm not sure if it was commuter rail or whatever. I think it was the Green Line. This is a local shuttle bus, so we're back on the main line now. So I think we're just gonna hop on the Kenmore bus and continue stream. I'm not gonna cut it in half because I just don't want to lose the momentum. So basically, it's just the scope of this diversion. I'm just gonna detail what to say. Local express on local ride. I think you already expanded it. there's a possibility that some of them are in various stages of construction. But they can be held there until the garages are ready to accommodate them. So now, if we say winter 2026, you need February 2026.
Newton Islands.
This is a 4-minute run with traffic from Copley to Newton Highlands. Yeah. The thing is, that's if there's a train available, I'm not sure if it's walkable, so most likely not. We'll just take the shuttle back to Kenmore in this stream. But we can recreate this scene virtually now that we actually have the Boston to Worcester map. Station. I think the engineer should find out. I think New Flyer should have it figured out since they make lots of buses across the country. Those will be taken into consideration. So 59 goes by here. Very interesting.
Elliott Station.
I think the batteries. I think the range should be exhausted or something. So the Nafis, what if the MBTA uses the needle-point shuttle average in mode to make their own buses? Well, the MBTA has already scrapped the needle-point shuttle, so they can't do that anymore. So to them, it's an obsolete design. It seems that will fall outside your scope of work. He makes new buses. Riverside so far. Okay, Wobbin.
Upland Station.
Yeah, Wobbin is close. But yeah. Just imagine that some people have to go through this every day. About Hurley's shutting down the Braintree branch, so hopefully they run express shuttles. So 523. Yeah, but definitely. I don't think we have time to stop by Everett today. We're about an hour into the bus ride, and we're not even there. Yeah, but traffic's expecting this is the longest line. Yeah, Riverside is so far out. I wouldn't be surprised if it's halfway between Boston and Framingham. Also, Framingham is the halfway point between Boston and Worcester. And Worcester is the halfway point between Boston and Springfield. Yeah. There's currently no train service between Springfield and Boston due to, I don't know, the tracks giving away on the Lakeshore coming in. So they're going to have to fix that. But we do have segments in New York. But yeah, the sun's starting to set soon. I'm getting real thirsty, so I thought I was going to be able to drink that, but the light turned green. Oh man, I think the next stop will be Woodlawn. I got lots of twisted turns. Everything's done by Yankee. Since Yankee is still hiring bus operators, they're expanding their fleet, they're expanding their buses, they're buying new Excelsior straight from factories. Yankee is balling because they have Mercedes buses. This is one of the few companies in America that has purchased Mercedes buses. So they're buying the best of the best new flying Excelsiors and Mercedes buses. I think 267. Sun is setting. Looks like we'll get there back there in the car. Yeah, lots of track work. Woodlawn is next. Yep, we're at Woodlawn, so we're almost at the end of the line. We could leave for 11, so 11. If I had the space and the funds, sure. thing that they're doing here, which is very smart, is that they're running the majority of the buses. The majority of the coach buses that are running on the express segment are the coach buses, while local ones are transit. However, they still use transit buses, transit-style buses on
Woodland Station.
I'll put it down. I'll pause it for a second. I'll get a swig of water. There we go. I just got thirsty. Alright, now we're on the move again. We're gonna turn the bus around and head towards Boston. No, not towards Boston. Well, we're gonna head towards Riverside, the last stop. I think it's a track. Oh yeah. If I got on a local shuttle bus, I'll probably not film it until stream it until we get to. Oh, nice turn. Until we get to Newton Highway, because this is going to be the same scenery. Next to the last stop is Riverside, and we see that we have some maintenance of way equipment. We're probably going to do some track replacement and etc. Australia's runs had to head on the 77, and it starts right away. But now the Bradley buses give MBTA more operational flexibility. Oh, we have one of those old-fashioned payphones. Payphones are not as common. Number 77A could possibly return to service. But yeah, I think this is probably my only time I did a Riverside shuttle. Because yeah, like I said, I did every MBTA shuttle service on the rapid transit network. Thank you, Eli Jackson. So yeah. see Riverside. Oh, looks like there's a bus with the correct signage. Looks like this may be a local one. I do think that the 1400 more cars were in a very rough street. Very, very rough state. Hop on I-95 for a bit. Get ourselves to Riverside. Just keyword a bit. Now exiting off. Now, there's exits to I-90, which will take you to Washington State if you go really, really long. Keep going. Now we're approaching Riverside. This is the main primary maintenance facility of the Green Line. Opened July 4th, 1959. A cab is starting to buy into the Mercedes-Benz.
Riverside, final stop.
Okay. Well, we did it, folks. Thank you. Okay, so we've ridden every single MBTA rapid transit shuttle bus possible. Looks like we caught a yard move in Riverside Yard for the first time. Let's see what that Type 7 is doing. Probably doing some manual switching. Let's cross over. Let's see what they have. Thanks for watching. I know you see you next stream. We have lots cannibalized Type 8s. Lots of Type 7s with missing parts. I think it's going to be doing some basic maintenance. So some trains have been left at the Riverside Yard for obvious reasons. $36.06 looks like it's operable. $36.90 missing several parts, missing couplings, missing components, missing doors, missing pantograph. And look at the beautiful sunset. Yep, looks like there's another Type 7. I think this is an excellent opportunity for the T to test out their Green Line train protection system on a train style isolated at the Riverside car house. But yeah, this is where most of the cars go to, where they need heavy repairs. Before Innerbelt became a major maintenance facility, this is where everything goes. This is where the Boeing LRVs were scrapped on site. I think this is the last time that the cars were scrapped on site, behind the Riverside car house. Nowadays, everything is shipped out because of asbestos concerns, etc. But yeah, lots of Type 8s awaiting repair, missing parts, missing components. But yeah, lots of work is being done here. Lots of works are being done here. But yeah, lots of missing parts. So Riverside trains can be sent back. Yep. Not until the 31st. But yeah, I would assume the T has enough trains and they made some equipment moves with operable equipment. But yeah, either it's parts are missing, even from the rehab cars, parts are cannibalized. Couplers, either parts need to be sent from a subcontractor, or parts can be refabricated in-house. There's lots of things that the T can do to repair these cars. I think 3894 probably returned to service after being fixed by a contractor. But yeah, sunset at Riverside. But yeah, not sure if those 4 cars exist. Boston College is more like a layover facility and storage. Riverside does just somewhat repair. So for Riverside Open, Reservoir was the primary place. And don't forget we had Arborway. But now with this, we no longer need Arborway. Oh yeah. But back in the day, the team ran much more streetcars, fast lines, and PCCs were phased out. The T had about 3,002. About 300 and so PCCs. Now we have just around 200 LRVs or so. So that means these trains can carry more people and take up less space. But yeah, instead of running 3-car PCCs, you can run 2-car LRVs. Not sure it has the same capacity, but it was an improvement. They ran 3-car LRVs at one point until they found out that drilling problems were an issue. Now the T's gonna be receiving Type 10s within the next 10 years or so. But yeah, more on that later. So we're just gonna end the stream here. No more yard moves are obvious or visible. But to answer your question, if the Boeings went to Arborway, they only went to Arborway on a fan trip. But all the service was done by CCCs up until 1985. So yeah, this is it for now. Thanks for watching. So yeah, no Type 7s went to Arborway. shut down in 85. And Type 7s came in 86. So, yeah, that never happened. So, yeah, thanks for watching. Have a nice day, and see you in the next stream. Back to Kenmore.